Well, hey everyone, it's Friday, which means it's time to deploy. I'm your host, John Bristow, and my co hosts, who are typically with me, Charlotte, Matt, and Jim, they are either on holiday or away or sick or one of the various sort of states that they're in. They send their regards and their apologies for not making today's show, but that's okay. We will forge on. We've been very busy actually as of late. Last week, Matt and myself and Charlotte were at an event called NDC Sydney, where we spoke about a bunch of things. Matt covered a session on ephemeral environments. I did a session on AI, and it was great. We had a lot of fun there. We had a booth. We had a lot of good times with talking to customers there, which was awesome to see. I'm always a fan of going to NDC. NDC is a very common conference you'll see at various places around the world, and NDC Sydney is just one of those locations. Of course, obviously, with any event, there's going to be a lot of great conversations, and I had a lot of great chats. It was great to see some of my old friends there that came up to the event, and I had a good time hanging out with them. So that was great to see. And anyways, regardless, we've been really busy as of late. We've hired a few people here, so we're onboarding them, which is great to see. We've been really busy, heads down on the product. We've been building out a lot of innovations, etc. And we've had a lot of great content that's come over on YouTube, etc. And so we've been experimenting with a lot of ideas, which is great to see. Anyways, regardless, on this show, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff, including some of the industry news that's been dropping. We'll be talking about the latest sort of brouhaha that's happening around GitHub, namely around uptime, etc. We'll talk about a new release of Kubernetes that's also available today. You can get, that's actually something that shipped last week, and much more details as part of today's show. But first, if you are new to the channel, feel free to like and subscribe, as the kids like to say. We publish a video up on our YouTube channel all the time. Almost on a weekly basis now. And one of those videos that you may catch, for example, is this one, which is entitled Octopus Saves You Money, Here's How to Prove It. So this is a video that I did earlier featuring an integration that you may have missed. This is part of our Octopus AI assistant, and in particular there's a feature called the value metrics dashboard, and so I did a video on this, and you can find this up on our YouTube channel now. If you're curious at all to see it, if we go over to an instance and you load up the AI assistant, for example here, and bring up what's available there, you'll notice that there's this section here called Community Dashboards. And I'm doing this live here so you can follow along if you want. If you click on that, you'll notice there's a number of options, including this one called Value Metrics. And so Value Metrics will ask you a series of questions, and then based on the answers, it will determine how much money you've saved as a result of using Octopus. And so this is something you can use now, and this is something you can use to help justify the expenditure, but it basically allows you to calculate a whole bunch of metrics. In addition to that, the dashboard also exposes a bunch of other things that are interesting as well. Again, this is live based on the samples instance. You can run this out yourself if you want. You can hit samples.octopus.app, which is live today, available as a demo for you to kind of kick the tires. And then from there, with the AI assistant, you can follow this up and ask it to answer some questions. So this is the value metrics dashboard here. And if you want the sort of condensed version of this, what this looks like from a video perspective, you can check out the video that I published up on our Octopus Deploy our YouTube channel. So there you go. That is something that kind of highlights what's new and latest and greatest in there. So that's something you can check out. And it's oftentimes a question that comes up all the time, which is, what value are we getting out of Octopus? Well, this question is now answered through this dashboard, so you can check that out. Another video that we published is this one called Vibe Deployments. This is a term that I kind of have been looking for, seeing across the various interwebs, so to speak. It's a bit of a meme that I'm seeing being picked up right now by various developers. This idea that you just continuously deploy based on vibe coding sessions, etc. I am not a fan of this, by the way. So just to be clear, to put my flag in the sand here, it's something that I think that vibe deployments in the context of a CI/CD pipeline, I'm not a fan of, because I think that they are non-deterministic. And I think you want your deployments to be deterministic. You want to make sure that what is actually going to be deployed does get deployed, and there's not a chance of it hallucinating, for example. And so I'm basically laying out the groundwork of a case against doing vibe deployments, which is something that I'm posing here, and providing some examples along the way of things that have happened. So I cite Kiro as one example here of a deployment that has gone wrong due to a variety of reasons. And we're starting to see this in the news today. We're starting to see some examples of this hit the internet today. Are you seeing a lot of feedback from folks talking about the case against AI. And so this is a video that talks a little bit about that, which you can check out up on our YouTube channel. And it's this notion of vibe deployments, which I'm kind of a little bit antsy about. I think that you want to have, as I said, your deployments to be deterministic. And I think if you go down this route, you're going to become non-deterministic, which I don't think is ideal. Anyways, enough said on that. You can check it out up on my YouTube channel, which is available there. We have a bunch of webinars that are also coming up. You can check these out at /webinars. The first one to mention is this one that I'll be hosting alongside the fine folks over at Redgate. Myself and Andrew Pierce will be talking about Octopus Deploy and Flyway working in tandem. So this one is entitled Stay in Control, Ship the Change, Mastering Release Pipelines and Database Change Management. This is on May 7th, which just so happens to be my birthday. But we'll be talking about all the ways in which you can utilize Octopus Deploy as an orchestrator for database deployments. So if you're curious about how to use Octopus Deploy and a tool called Flyway from Redgate, Flyway is the basic summary is if you're looking to do a schema diff, for example, you want to do that on a command line and get a sense of change and change management on that level and orchestrate it in a CI/CD context, the way that developers traditionally do, then this is a good webinar for you to check out. So myself and Andrew will be talking about this. I'll be covering the Octopus side. Andrew will be covering the Flyway side. And hopefully together it will provide a compelling reason for you to check this out. Another webinar that's coming up soon. This one's featuring Charlotte and Steve. This one's entitled Your Delivery Pipeline's Impact on AI Productivity. This one's going to be co-hosted with the New Stack. And Jen is going to be obviously hosting that. And this is going to be a really good example of kind of what impact AI can have on your organization. And that'll be cited or underscored by the AI Pulse Report. The AI Pulse Report, which is available off of our publications, you can find here, is a long-standing report that we've been working on. This is surveyed over 600 people, and it's a state and time of where we thought the industry was at in terms of development relative to, the AI adoption with relative to developer and teams. So if you want to check this out, you can find this up on our publications website. This is the AI Pulse Report. And the reason why I mention this is because this will be the feature of what Charlotte and Steve will be talking about in this webinar co-hosted with the New Stack. We also have another webinar coming up, another one hosted by Steve. The sirens of IT Ops want to drown your platform crew. Steve will be co-hosting this with Luke Phillips, who's the principal engineer, at FICO, and him alongside co-hosted with the platform engineering folks. You'll find these at platformengineering.org. They'll be talking about this, and so this will be hosted on May 27th, so you can register for that one as well. So those and other webinars you'll find up on our webinars page, which is octopus.com/webinars, which is great to see. We've got a couple of blog posts worth mentioning here. The first one is this one entitled this one was by Drew Brittle, who's been asked to do a guest post here. Safely creating projects with the AI assistant. Obviously, this is focusing on the Octopus AI assistant, which I just showed you earlier. With the AI assistant, you can, through the prompts here, if I scroll over here, not that one, this one, not that one, sorry, go back one. So if I go back to the samples instance here, this is the one I was looking for. Inside the prompt here, you can actually create this chat prompt here. You can actually create projects based on your inputs. And so that's what this blog post is talking about here. So AI in DevOps faces an interesting problem. According to the Pulse report, 44% of developers say they're frustrated with AI outputs that are almost right, but not quite. And this is the case I have against, obviously, Vibe deployments as well. What the AI assistant does, and here's an example of how do you create a project with the AI assistant. So if you're curious at all maybe you've heard about the AI assistant and you want to kick the tires yourself, you can go up to the Chrome Web Store and download it yourself. It will run in Chrome. It won't affect your installation at all. It will simply just utilize the APIs to invoke commands against it, and then through that you can do interesting things like this. So the prerequisites for this, obviously a cloud account and the AI assistant installed, and he shows a bunch of videos along the way here of how to create a project using these prompts here. So create a script project, called 15 get backed project, and then you can see the result of that. And then of course, anytime you're doing an operation which will have an impact on an instance, we actually ask you to verify that you want to run this command. And so there's an approval process that goes through this. And so if you're curious at all, checking this out, there's a great post up on our blogs post, which you can check out, entitled Safely Creating Projects with the AI Assistant. Moving right along, we've got another one here. This is from Steve. This is highlighting, obviously, the continuous delivery office hours. This is on episode 4, Mono, Micro, and Nikos. So this Steve's talking about the latest branching strategies that we have available. And they're obviously getting into the very colorful YouTube thumbnails. CD Office Hours is a show that's run all the time. And we post all of their episodes up on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out. And it's a great discussion amongst those three, and they have a lot of great conversations. So you can check that out up on our blog and YouTube channel, which is awesome. We have a bunch of events that we're also going to. As I just mentioned, NDC Sydney, we were in Sydney doing an event there. We have some other ones coming up as well. So we have Red Hat Summit on May 11th to 14th. And that one I'm a big fan of because I'm a big fan of Red Hat. And then we've got Costas doing an event here as part of the Cloud Native Days in Italy. And he'll be doing a session or workshop rather entitled Level Up Your GitOps Deployments with Argo CD and Argo Rollouts. These are always popular. We do a lot of these workshops. Don't forget, we also have Dash by Datadog. That's their annual event. This one will be, again, hosted in New York. We went to the one last year, and we have a partnership with them. And that's where we announced, actually, the plugin that we have with Datadog. And then KubeCon India in June as well as in Japan, which is listed here. And then in between that, we also have PlatformCon. So PlatformCon in London and New York will be hosted in June, and there will be a virtual component to this as well. And we are sponsoring those. And of course, GitHub Universe at the end of the year as well. So just keep aware of these, that if you happen to be in the area or you got something on your calendar that might align, feel free to take advantage of that and say hello. We'd love to see you at these events. So lots of great stuff happening there. And of course, don't forget also, I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but there's also Argo Unpacked. ArgoUnpacked.com, make it your homepage. Lots of great episodes there. Obviously, the one that we mentioned last time was Dr. Argo called Do Your Custom Resources Require a Checkup? Lots of episodes available there. Argo CD and Octopus Deploy, Better Together, etc. You can meet the hosts, Dan and Ravital. They have a guest host coming up all the time. And I think our next episode is, yes, this one, Dr. Argo called. So make sure to check that out. Actually, I think this one was just hosted. Excuse me. I remember seeing it on LinkedIn. So yes, this was just hosted, and hopefully the recording will be updated later and posted there. All right, moving on to the industry news. We have a new major version of Kubernetes. This landed on April 22nd. This is named Haru, which is Japanese for spring and clear skies. There's over 70 enhancements, as it says, and of those enhancements, 18 have graduated to stable, 25 are entering beta, and 25 have graduated to alpha. You can see the logo here, which is very cute. So very cool to see. There was 491 contributions across 106 companies. This is a maturity release. The long-running KEPs are finally graduating to production ready. Lots of stuff in this latest release. Spotlight on some of the key updates here, obviously. So we have a lot of stuff here. So we have user namespaces in pods that's available as GA. We have obviously mutating admission policies going to GA as well. And then we have 0 to scale going to beta. Sorry, I'm scrolling on the wrong window. So these and other capabilities have been available as a general release. And then we have a bunch of features that are graduating to stable. So this is awesome to see. I'm a huge fan of, obviously, the logo. Big fan there. Some other things that are happening, obviously, the Ingress for NGINX is officially retired. So the SIG around network and security response retired the Ingress for NGINX on March 24th. So there's no more releases, no more bug fixes for that. So if you are utilizing that, make sure just be aware that that is no longer under support. The Gateway API is the only forward path. And so if you're still using the Ingress for NGINX, you're on unsupported infrastructure. So just be aware of that. The other thing that might be worth noting is that Git repo volume plugin has been removed. So these and other sorts of things are worth noting. But make sure to check out the status release page that's available there. And this is for Kubernetes 1.36, which is great to see. This is a blog post from the folks over at Docker announcing Docker sandboxes. So these are basically micro VMs, and this is a nice level of isolation for your AI agents. And so this is sort of akin to Docker's answer essentially to running AI agents that need to run code, but really containers aren't enough. And so the way that this is implemented is that each agent runs in a dedicated micro VM with its own kernel, its own Docker daemon, file system, and network stack. And so they provide an example here of an agent or claw running inside a container inside of a micro VM. This supports Claude Code, Gemini CLI, Codex, Copilot, and Kiro after the box. And you can, out of the box, excuse me, and you can run agents in what's called YOLO mode, where there's no permission prompts. And you can do that safely because of that sandbox boundary, which is acting as a hypervisor and not as a namespace. So you can directly access this. And this is the blog post that talks about this. So this is a new type of, as they say, a new VMM as part of their solution going forward. I thought this was kind of cool because obviously there's a lot of traction around this. People want to run these things in isolation. And so this is something definitely worth checking out. This is up at docker.com. This was an interesting article that I spotted up over at the Newsstack. We're big fans of the Newsstack. We write a lot there, so you can check it out there. This one's entitled Developer Loyalty is at Zero right now. Google doesn't care which AI coding tool you use. This is very true. I don't know what your experience is, but certainly I'm using a lot of them. Here at Octopus Deploy, we use a wide combination of tools when engaging with chat agents, when building out the solutions utilizing LLMs, for example. So some folks are fans of anti-gravity, others use Cursor, and then they combine that with a wide variety of different models. So I utilize Claude Code, and I like that experience there, but there's a number of ways in which to use this. Anyways, this underpins, I think, something that I'm seeing a lot of, which is, amongst developers, you're not seeing a true dedication. There's no moat that's being established here amongst developers and amongst these solutions, because I think a lot of people are very fluid in terms of the type of model they're building upon. And so this kind of underscores this. This is being seen by Google, and I'm sure this is something that maybe you're exploring as well, that there are a lot of AI, there are a lot of LLM options out there, a lot of agents that are available for you to build on. And but I utilize Claude because I'm a fan of skills, and I think it has a lot of traction. Now, that being said, there have been some issues recently about uptime, so Anthropic's working on this, but this is an interesting article nonetheless. So if this is something that you care about, make sure to check this out up on the Newsstack. And another article written on the Newsstack, Beyond Prompting, How KubeSeller Reached 81% PR Acceptance with AI Agents. So this is something that I talked a lot about recently on some of the videos that I've been publishing, which is you're seeing these massive PRs that are coming in from agents. And typically what you'll see in a PR release is, in a PR itself, is you'll see these code diffs that are like sometimes hundreds, if not thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of lines long. And so putting guardrails around that is really the only safe and sane way in which you can actually approve these things. No one's going to go through and read thousands and thousands of PR lines of code in a PR constantly, every day, multiple times a day. I think what will more likely happen is putting guardrails and relying on unit tests and behavioral tests more so than inspecting every single line of code. And it's the common refrain where you see a PR come in, it's 10 lines, everyone scrutinizes every line. When it's a few hundred lines, everyone's like, yeah, looks good to me, let it pass. So KubeSeller does do a lot in this space. And so this is an article obviously from the engineer who's building this out, talking about how they were able to get a higher acceptance rate through this. And basically espousing some of the things. So write down what you keep correcting. This is definitely that's been prescribed by the Ralph Wiggum loop, which is this idea of just iterating over a piece of work until you get it right. And so this is something that I'm a big fan of as well. Treat tests as the trust layer, not just as the correction layer. Again, this is underscoring what I was saying earlier. You want your behavioral unit tests, guardrails, etc., whatever you want to call them. That's going to be definitely something key to being successful. Don't automate until you can measure. Of course, that's true. You don't want to be regressing in terms of your performance or throughput, etc. So you want to make sure you've got your observability solution set up, you've got your metrics aligned, etc. Number 4, let the code base become the operating manual. Yep, that's very true. So allow it to be self-sustaining, and ask why, not what. So what it is, why are we going about implementing this via a AI solution? So yeah, this is definitely a great or strong use case if you're all curious to find out what's happening there. And this aligns quite well with some of the observations I've been making on the AI side. So maybe that aligns with what you're seeing as well. I don't know. So, but it's good to experiment. And then just to wrap things up, and this is something that I think a lot of us have been talking about recently, is that recently Michio Hashimoto, who's the co-founder of HashiCorp, he built Terraform, Vagrant, etc. He's been working on a solution called Ghostly, TTY, and his post here saying how he's leaving GitHub is for a lot of reasons. And I don't know about you, but I've been seeing recently I've been getting a lot of email alerts about GitHub's availability. I've been seeing some weird behavior out of GitHub. There's been a bit of an ongoing discussion around GitHub itself. I'll let you find those videos up on YouTube if you care to search. But basically, Mitchell here is talking about how GitHub is a platform that he's known and loved for well over, I think, 20 years now. And so 15 years. And so now he's, sad, but he's looking for a new solution. He hasn't announced where he's going next. There are many other alternatives out there, but it really does speak to the fact that trust has, I think, to a large extent, has been somewhat eroded because of the reliability around GitHub. And this has been acknowledged by GitHub, obviously. So hopefully GitHub, I'm praying that, GitHub kind of course corrects there. But we're seeing some evidence of this. This is an example of, its recent uptime as of late. You can see that it's been having a bit of a challenge lately. So I don't know what your observations have been, but this was something that was topical. This was blew to the top of the stack up on Hacker News recently. And so I decided to read this, and certainly does reflect some of the zeitgeist I'm hearing about GitHub going forward. So hopefully, GitHub can make the improvements that are necessary to resolve a lot of the issues that we're recently seeing around this. And there have been posts to this effect recently. So anyways, that is the latest news from here at at Octopus Deploy. And obviously Jim, Charlotte, and Matt say hi. But lots of stuff happening here. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel if you're all inclined. Lots of great releases, obviously, around Kubernetes, etc. We've got lots of features coming out. And finally, don't forget to check out the Octopus AI Assistant. Lots of great features there, including the value metrics dashboard. And Little Birdie told me that there's some new features coming as well. So if you haven't done so already, download that Chrome extension, download it, and utilize it within the context of Octopus. It may surprise you. There's lots of great features in there. Until next time, thanks for joining us on this latest episode of Deploy on Friday, and we will see you next week. And happy deployments, everyone. Take care.